Hey everyone, I am somewhere in Montour County, Pennsylvania. I was in the area and I saw that there was an old iron furnace down here. So I thought we should probably check it out. I'm saying we because I am with Tony, who's looking it up on his phone.
Valley Township.
Valley Township. Cool little bridge here. Do you know what creek this is, Tone? This is another roadside find. So we are sort of learning as we go. 1915 Thomas Bridge. So before I get to the furnace, after checking out this bridge, I always like to check out the creek if possible. This is nice. Hear that bird? I don't know if that's coming across, but that's just a unique sound. Not sure what type of bird that is, but anyway. Nice view of the bridge. What township did you say this was?
Valley Township.
Valley Township. So I'm not sure what the name of this creek is, but Tony's looking it up. Maybe it doesn't matter anyway. It's a creek, and it's kind of nice. Nice, peaceful area. Let's check out this side.
Near Roaring Creek.
Roaring Creek. Well, it doesn't really look like it's roaring, Tony.
It does not. It looks pretty calm. There's
looks pretty calm. That's poison ivy.
I think you're walking through poison ivy.
Tony said I'm walking through poison ivy.
Like
what else is new? I do have my long pants on. All right, so I don't know if I'm going to make my way down here or not, but I want to get a better view. It's a nice arched bridge.
1915, right?
1915. Roaring Creek.
Well, that almost looks like it says one-lane bridge. It looks wide enough to get two cars across.
One-lane bridge. It does look like you could get, I'm gonna say at one time, Tony, it probably was for two, but for safety reasons, they made it a one-lane bridge. So that's private property over there, and that appears to be private property. So I'm not sure if this furnace is on private property or not. It looks like it has some signage, so I'm gonna think it's probably okay to check it out. At least I would think so. Tony, do we know the name of this? The Franklin Forge iron furnace.
I think it was 1845 or 1846.
In case you didn't hear, Tony, it looks like it was built between 1845 and 1846. So you can see the iron furnace coming into view. Until I started my YouTube channel or started watching some other explorers, I had no idea these things even existed. And there's so many of them in Pennsylvania. Total speculation, but I'm gonna guess maybe there's more of them in Pennsylvania than any of the other states, because I think these maybe were around for 100, 150 years, then they kind of became obsolete. So that's kind of cool. Somebody put an old wheelbarrow here. So the furnace was named after Benjamin Franklin. He was a close friend of the people that owned the land.
Of the grandfather. Structure known.
He was a close... Why don't I actually read the board?
Yeah, that's gonna fall in. That. See that?
What, Tony?
That part's gonna fall in here eventually.
Yeah, there's some cracks here, but it almost looks like there's some concrete was added. I mean, they're probably trying to keep it
right
together. All right, just some local history and a couple pictures. That is Andrew Moss. That is the company home at the top of the property, which might be up that hill, so I might see if it's still there. I'm gonna guess it's not, because that picture looks pretty old. So, the structure at this location is known as the Franklin Blast Furnace. A blast furnace heated by hot air to melt iron ore into pig iron. And I know from exploring one of these, got a lot of bugs here. I know from exploring one of these iron furnaces before, they refer to it as pig iron because when it comes out, it almost looks like a piglet. It has, I guess, like a tail on the end. So it just says that this furnace was commissioned by Louis Mouse, later purchased by his sons Matthew and George. And we already looked at this picture of Andrew. That might be Louis's grandson, I'm guessing. And it was built by Eli Trago around 1830.
Ah.
So this place has some years behind it. So I don't know what it is, but I am getting bit, and I can actually see, it's probably not coming up on the camera, but they're actually following me, Tony. The furnace was named after Benjamin Franklin, who was a close friend of their grandfather, Philip Moss, M-A-U-S. The elder Moss, the elder Moss, who had given freely of his fortune in support of the Continental Army, first started to develop his homestead near here along Mahoning Creek. So we're not far from Danville. Tony, what is this? You said this, they created the first what? Something to do with the railroad?
Yeah.
A T-rail.
For railroads.
Now what is a T-rail? Just the rails they still use?
Yeah.
Because it's
well,
like a T?
Yeah, it's like wider at the top and then just, it's like a serif T kind of.
Okay. So
But
the
yeah,
first
I told
iron T railroad track was rolled into Danville in 1845.
It was a big iron.
So you think it was actually made here?
No.
No. No.
There's like huge mills that were in Danville, but they're no longer there.
So this was built in 1830, and I was saying earlier, which I believe I'm correct,
And you say this is
Tony, these kind of became obsolete
Yes.
by maybe the late 1800s, even the mid 1800s,
Right,
maybe.
probably.
So if it was built in 1830, it probably didn't have that long of a life. All right, so now I moved around to the side, and whoa, I don't know what that is. Tony, what is that that's in there?
I don't know.
I don't know what those are, but I definitely want to check them out. So there's no fence on this side, and it doesn't say keep out, but there's an old door here, and we've got, I don't know, these are just pieces of wood. They look like old handles to something. Not sure why they would be here. Some old iron pipe here. So the way these old iron furnaces would work, they were built into the hillside, as we mentioned earlier. They were built into the hillsides to easily load them from the top with layers of iron ore. Charcoal was used as the fuel, and limestone. And then there were water-powered bellows provided a high-pressure air blast into the furnace's hearth, creating intense heat to melt the iron ore and produce molten iron, and a waste product referred to as slag. The lighter waste slag floated onto the top of the heavier molten iron, which was then periodically tapped and cast into products like pig iron or stove plates. Pretty cool that some of these are still standing. I'm thinking a lot of them have probably been torn down over the years. It would be kind of cool if I were able to get up there, but I don't see a way of doing so. And as I mentioned before, I believe this is probably private property, so anyway. I think I'm just gonna end my video here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you could give it a like, that would be awesome. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider doing so, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful weekend. Take care, everybody.